Greetings, Varlet, and welcome to another one of my rants, where I speak aloud my thoughts on Warhammer and wargaming in general. Today's topic is a more fun and lighthearted one. I kinda got tired of ragging on GW's flaws and wanted to make a more positive video. So today we're going to be ranking all the Warhammer 40K armies from worst to best. Here are the rules. Number 1, this list is purely subjective, solely my opinion, and should be taken as such. Number 2, I will not be including all the variations of Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines on this list. This includes the Death Watch and Grey Knights. They will get their own video in the future. Number 3, aside from my own personal bias, my opinion on these armies will be based on how interesting I believe they are in the setting and as a playable faction on the tabletop, not on how powerful they are or who I think would beat who. If you watch my last rant, you will know that I do not put much stock on one side winning over the other. It ruins the whole idea of the game. I like me some balance. And number 4, there are 18 armies in total on this list, and I'll be explaining my reasons for their ranking as we go along. So without further ado, here's our number 18, Adeptus Custodes. Do you know what's better than a Space Marine? A super duper Space Marine. I'll be honest with you, Varlets. Custodes are lame.
There, I said that.
In concept and lore, I think they are fine. The ever-silent and immovable guard of the Emperor, never moving from their spot on Terra, prepared to defend Terra if anything so much as breathes negatively in the Emperor's direction. Are they statues, or is there really a man in that armor? Are they real or myth? The concept was pretty neat. What I actually hate about them is the fact that they are playable on the tabletop. GW just had to make another variant on Space Marine for you to buy. And if they're supposed to be as elite as Amor claims, they should trounce any army they face. This doesn't sit well with me. Again, this is supposed to be a game. Let's have some balance. Number 17, Leagues of Votann. Sorry, I just can't get over the fact that they're all clones. Their models do not represent this at all. When I think of clone armies, I think of the clone troopers from Star Wars or Horatio from Endless Space 2. Very fun character, by the way. There should be uniformity in the appearance, which includes race and gender. Making them so that they can be any color and any gender, but also clones, just seems like GW missed the whole point of the clone concept. In reality, the Kin are just like any other sexually dimorphic race, but with extra steps. Now, if you want to see an army that actually does this concept well, then check out the Orcs. So GW, please, just remove the bit about them being clones, and we're good. Also, their whole aesthetic is rather generic. I really wish they had made them look more like the Caradron overlords from Age of Sigmar. Could have lent into the more fantastical side of science fiction, similar to games like Skies of Arcadia or even Grand Blue Fantasy. Really lead into that steampunk aesthetic. I love my little Sky Dwarves. Number 16 and 15, Imperial and Chaos Knights. Giant stumpy robots. Unfortunately, these guys don't really do it for me. I like characters and the drama that unfolds when two people meet on the battlefield. So a giant robot does very little for me. I guess I'm not huge into mecha. If I have to give the edge to either of these, I guess I go with Chaos. They have a bit more variety in design and appearance instead of something that looks like it came out of an assembly line. I guess I just like me my little guys. So let me paint my little guys. Number 14, Tyranids. As a villain army, they're a great concept. Ever hungry and ever encroaching giant bugs, an endless horde. Are we surrounded by them? Maybe, who knows? But as a playable army, they're right down there with the knights for me. Once you've seen one Tyranid, you've seen them all. That's the problem with a faction without much of its own personality or character. The threat about them is interesting, but they're not personable enough for me to be intrigued by them. Number 13, Chaos Demons. Again, a bit of a horde army, but with the added bonus of actually having some characters to get invested in. I kinda wish they wrote more books from the demon's perspective so that we can get to know them a bit better, other than that as fodder for the hero of the book to defeat. I guess if I had to pick one demon I find the most interesting in design and lore, it's the Changeling. Look at that sweet cloak. Also, the fact that he goes around just messing with people brings out my inner gremlin. I'm not taking into account the Chaos Gods themselves for this ranking because they're not playable, but they are fantastic characters in their own right. Here's a quick ranking of the 4 Chaos Gods. Number 12, the Necron, the Robo-Undead themselves. They've got a great aesthetic. Love the Egyptian vibe, but I'm not a fan of how OP they are in the lore. I'm looking at you, Trazen. Makes it seem stupid to me as to why they haven't wiped out everyone yet. Also, I kinda preferred it when they were just murder machines. Warhammer 40K is equivalent of the Terminator and Skynet. There was a lot of menace there. You didn't want to be waking them up. Now they're just bickering old people with too much time on their hands and not much of a goal in mind. I guess GW felt that they couldn't have more than 2 Horde armies? Number 11, the Eldar, the Space Elves. Nothing screams fantasy in space more than these guys. They've got an interesting story with their downfall and having birthed Slanesh. Their aesthetic is pretty neat too, but with its mix of Tolkien elves and Eastern religious influences, they just don't do it for me as much as all the other armies. And unfortunately, it seems like I'm not the only one. Probably why they don't get many books, which is quite a shame. They've got a lot of interesting plot lines that I wish were explored more. Also, big fan of the Gilliman and Ivrain ship. Make a canon, GW. Give us Space Romeo and Juliet. Number 10, the Tau. These guys get so much hate on the tabletop. No one likes a camper, and they feel very much like that style of gameplay that Jerk Sniper uses in every first-person shooter. But I think they're so good in the Warhammer 40K lore. They are that naive race whose worldview does not align with the world they inhabit. They embody the idea of utopianism, which, if you actually try to implement, would immediately make you a tyrant. I think that this faction was very much needed in the setting. It gives us a new political perspective we hadn't seen in the setting, which leads to interesting clashes of ideology. But as much as I love them in the lore, they fall into the same problem I seem to have with Vex. I guess I just prefer more humanoid creatures and characters, so I love the race, but don't much care for their units. Recruits are kinda cool too, though they still don't quite do it for me. Kinda wish there were more of their old army, but with a more mercenary feel. Something akin to the Krogan and the Vorcha from Mass Effect. Number 9, the Drukhari, the Dark Eldar. I love the Drukhari. I think they make for such fascinating villains. It brings to question the whole idea of how responsible you are for the evil you do if you are forced to do it. The whole "the devil made me do it" vibe. It also captures some of the ideas seen in the Saw movies. How much depravity are you willing to inflict on others to stay alive? And speaking of body horror, they definitely encapsulate that aspect of the setting. It really helps sell Warhammer 40K's grim, dark setting. It's a very fun concept for an army. So, if I like them as much as I claim, why are they not higher on this list? Well, this is where we start getting into tricky territory. As much as I love them as characters, I just love the armies above them that much more. Plus, GW has been neglecting this army for a while now, so their model line is just okay. The Rex are pretty cool though, but we're definitely in the big leagues now. Number 8, the OG, my first love, the Space Marines, the poster boys of the setting. These guys are great. Such a wonderful idea and design. I can see why they are the immediate hook to the setting. Big guys in big armor, total badasses, only here to do one thing, and that is to defend humanity and destroy its enemies. But it is this simplicity that keeps them from being higher on this list. They're straightforward, which isn't a bad thing, but there are way more interesting factions in this universe for me. Great to paint and to customize though. Now, number 7, The shadow to the Space Marine Sonic, the bad boys of the setting, the Chaos Space Marines. These guys are just so much fun. They get the best designs for power armor bar none, and have fully developed aesthetics for each one of their sub-factions. And thanks to the strong design elements of each of the Chaos Gods, you get so much diversity in aesthetics. I have like a million ideas for Chaos Space Marine kill teams. They definitely spark my creativity. So much fun. And who doesn't love a good villain? They're edgy and don't shy away from it. I just wish GW would stop making them seem like such jobbers and give them some proper menace. Villains who lose every time are not menacing. We need scary villains. Number 6. Now, hear me out. Imperial Agents. I know. No one likes them, but these guys are how I wish the Imperium was represented on the tabletop. Why should I be limited to only Space Marines, or only Imperial Guard, or only Sisters of Battle? Why can't I have all of them in my army, led by an Inquisitor? This composition is what we see all the time in the lore. So why couldn't we have this army before? I know that the rules aren't loved by those who play the game, but I don't want to be limited to only one type of Imperial army. I hope they really flesh this army out on the tabletop so that I'm truly able to embody the Imperium's finest. For the Emperor! Number 5. The G-Sealer Cult. The enemy in our midst. These guys are so fascinating. A biological virus that brainwashes you into loving that which is coming to devour you is just such a great concept. Can you imagine what it would feel like to instinctually need to worship something so horrifying down to your genetic level? It gives you so much story potential. They make the Tyranid so much more interesting by extension. The G-Stealer cults are so versatile that quite literally any unit can be a G-Stealer cultist. They are a kit basher's dream. And if you haven't read Day of Ascension yet, you're doing yourself a disservice. Get out there and read it. Number 4. The bestest of boys. The rowdy bunch themselves. The army that has already won the war. The Orcs. These guys really are the heart of Warhammer 40K. They're not here to win. They're here to fight and have a good time doing it. They embody you. Yes, you, the player. Just like the Orcs, we're here to have fun in this wacky world and fight each other. Their lore and design is absolutely perfect for the setting. I look forward to the day I can solidify my idea for an Orc kill team. That's not to say they are my favorite. We still have 3 more factions to go. Number 3. The most brave, the most heroic, the most relatable. The Imperial Guard. They are the brave men and women of the Imperium. They place their lives on the lines for their brothers and sisters on the daily with nothing more than a last gun and grit. Because if they don't, then humanity is doomed. I love how they come in all different kinds of flavors. You got Krieg, Katachan, Mastroian, Valhalla, Savlar, you name it. Also, the Imperial Guard probably have the best stories of the setting just due to how much you can do with them. Since they are just plain humans, warts and all, they lend themselves to every facet of humanity. Unlike Space Marines, we're a little bit more one-dimensional. They inspire us to overcome every obstacle and to brave any horror life has to throw at us. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. To our brave men and women at arms, we salute you. Number 2. Get a woman full of faith and zeal. Give her a bolter and sticker and power armor, and what do you get? You get the Sisters of Battle, the nuns with guts. This army has such an aesthetically fun and beautiful design. The idea that a normal woman uses the power of faith itself to defeat her enemies just makes me want to yell, "For the Emperor!" at the top of my lungs. Look at them! That armor is such a great design that harkens back to the images of Joan of Arc and Knights Templar. All that gothic imagery that the army exudes is just mwah! Chef's kiss. Just look at that. That is a church organ on a tank. And adding their propensity for fire-based weaponry to their design really gets my blood pumping. Sorry, salamanders, you guys are great and all, but these ladies take the cake. Just wish GW would stop nerfing and sidelining them. The Sisters of Battle books by James Waller are also peak thanks to their introspective view on faith and duty. Also, that loophole that created them is such a fun idea, and I am so glad that they are a part of the Imperium's lore. They are the best Imperial army in the lore. Now, I hear you asking yourself, wait, if they're the best Imperial army, then why are they number 2 on this list? Do I smell heresy? Well, rest assured, Varlet, there is no heresy afoot. I'm not pulling a Zeech. Just because they are the best army in the lore does not make them my favorite. That spot is reserved for those who worship the machine god, the ones who can't stay away from anything shiny. No, I'm not talking about the Blood Ravings. I'm talking about the Adeptus Mechanicus. Yes, the Adeptus Mechanicus takes the number 1 slot. If you know me by now, you'll know that I'm a massive Mechanicus fan. Nothing embodies the grim-dark vibe of the Warhammer 40K universe more than the Adeptus Mechanicus. Blending man and machine, seeing your body as something so disgusting as to do everything in your power to rip it off and replace it with metal is incredibly twisted. The grotesque blending of human body parts and technology give this army its incredibly unique and horrifying aesthetic. I mean, look at them! They are machine monks. And yet in the horror that is the AdMech, there is also comedy. They are obsessed with technology, so much so that they will endanger the lives of millions just to get their hands on a piece of technology from the ancient past. Because that's just it, Varlets. Humanity can no longer innovate. They are stagnant in this setting. The Mechanicus seeks to better humanity's lot in life by trying to find the technology that once made them great. But they really are just primates seeking to understand a toaster. They have no idea how it works, so they abhor doing anything outside of the standard in the fleer of blowing up the universe. They are incredibly ridiculous in their zealotry, and I love them for it. That is why they are my number 1 pick for the best army in Warhammer 40K. But what do you Varlets think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What would you change? And what would your list look like? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I have been Interrogator Rosario at just say to Milady Inquisitor Markham of the Order Hereticus, and I'm signing out from the grimdark future. Bye-bye, Varlets, and remember that the Lord of Mars is with us in the dark, even if thou knowest not. If you like what you heard, then please feel free to drop it in the comments or hit me up on Instagram at Rosario Divas Art. Or you can watch my live streams over on Twitch, which is also at Rosario Divas Art.